Welcome back to Kris Greenhill's Garage. I'm Kris.
And I'm Kris.
We come to you from inside Project Piece of Stang, Kris Jr.'s 1982 Ford Mustang GT. And we're finally going to fix the rear axle. Maybe, possibly, doubtful. You eagle-eyed viewers might be saying, wait a minute, isn't there a video right down there that says you already fixed it correctly? And you would be right. And we thought we did fix it correctly, but we didn't. Realistically and honestly, what do you think the odds are that we actually fixed this thing properly?
10%.
10%? Historically speaking, that's probably about right. Well, so far, we are exactly 0% at fixing this properly. In case you haven't seen our previous 10 videos on trying to fix this thing, when we got this car, the rear end whined just a little bit, progressively got a little worse. We've opened up the rear end multiple times. We've replaced everything in the rear end except the gears, which were still in mint condition, and the axles themselves. Now, we've pulled the axles before, and we've measured the axle shafts using a straight edge, and the axle shafts seem fine. And yet we persistently have an up and down wobble in the rear end. Let me show you what that looks like. All right, here is the driver's side wheel. Nice and smooth and flat for the most part. Here is the passenger side wheel. I'm guessing you can see that that is not smooth and flat. As you saw, the rear passenger side has got a major wobble to it. Now that's had new bearings. It's got a new drum brake kit, new drum, actual drum itself. We have rotated the wheels from corner to corner, side to side, front to back in the past. It's always been the same persistent problem. That same rear end has always felt that way. Now, just to cover our bases and make sure we're not completely stupid, we are going to go ahead and swap rims side to side and make sure that we didn't bend a rim somewhere along the way. And assuming that that doesn't work, we have new axles for this thing, and we're just going to throw them in. All right, here is the driver's side wheel. Nice and smooth and flat for the most part. Here is the passenger side wheel. I'm guessing you can see that that is not smooth and flat. As you saw, the rear passenger side has got a major wobble to it. Now that's had new bearings. It's got a new drum brake kit, new drum, actual drum itself. We have rotated the wheels from corner to corner, side to side, front to back in the past. It's always been the same persistent problem. That same rear end has always felt that way. Now, just to cover our bases and make sure we're not completely stupid, we are going to go ahead and swap rims side to side and make sure that we didn't bend a rim somewhere along the way. And assuming that that doesn't work, we have new axles for this thing, and we're just going to throw them in. Here's a different rim on this side. You can see it is wobbling also. Yeah. So it's not the rims, it's the axle. Brake jump cover's just coming right off, super easy. With the brake drum cover off, you can actually see the wobble in this. The face of this, the plate on the axle itself is bent. I can actually see this warped and disappearing behind this hub here when I spin it by hand. I don't know if that'll show on camera by hand. You can see that wobble, so that is the problem. It actually is all the way back into the axle tube. I can see it wobbling down in there. Really hard to get to zoom in, but that back there, that right there is where the axle is rolling out of round and rubbing against the bearing. Here Here's one of our buckets of car parts. I believe there are axles in here somewhere, but that's just kind of a theory at this point. Not actually seeing them. That isn't good. Found them. One thing that is going to suck is we're going to lose our long, I think these are ARP or Moroso studs. That kind of sucks. But we don't have a hydraulic press right now, and we're not going to even bother trying to put these in the other axles. We're just going to run stock stud lengths. I forgot that we had to drop the rear end just to reach the top 3 bolts. We were trying to do this with the jack stands under the rear axle, and that did not work. Maybe time for a bigger hammer. Maybe we shouldn't ask so nicely. Man, we sealed this thing up really, really well. We did something correct for once. All right, we're gonna have to get some kind of wedge and break that seal. This is not going well. We did a really good job on this rear end seal. You've gotten tired of asking nicely. There we go. Good job, boy. Let's see what that looks like. It's actually not sparkly and shiny like I thought it might be. Can't get the flash to turn on for some reason, but there wasn't any glitter in here like I thought there might be. There's no carnage, which is good. Hopefully all of this held up really well and it's just that axle. All right. That seems excessive. That is not much. I'm not liking that. I shimmed that tighter than that, I'm pretty sure. Ugh. I know it's difficult to tell on the camera angle, but I can see the faceplate of this axle is bent. Just that looks straight right there. Right in here I can see a wave in it. You can see where it was wearing unevenly here on the shaft also. There's a groove being cut into it. These are used stock axles with stock lug nuts, unfortunately. But there's no groove here you can feel. There's no wearing in here. You can definitely feel this with your finger. All right, the bearing appears to be good over here. I don't see any wear or damage that gives me any concern. So I think we're ready to put the new axles in. Uh-oh. These are not the same axles. They look to be the same length. I'm wondering about the spline count here. We may have to go through and count the splines. I'm not sure they're going to go in. These are definitely different axles. This section on this axle is twice as long as this section. But they do seem to go in. I did get this to seat just a second ago when I used both hands. All right, well, they seated. Now I'm just going to turn it a little, try to get all that old grease out of there. And yeah, they feel normal. All right, everything looks really clean in here. I don't see any glitter. I don't see any torn up shims like we've had in the past. I guess this is the backlash and the side-to-side slack that I had in it when I put it together and measured it. So I hope so. Yeah, I don't see the carnage that I'm used to down here. I've scooped out all the fluid I could. Well, I mean, not all of it, but scooped out a bunch. I've run the magnet stick through here. There's not even in the slightest little bit of particulate coming out. So the oil is super clean. That's what we needed. Remember how I said I don't think these are stock Fox body axles? I cannot get that pin to go in. I cannot get this to clear. It is driving us insane. It's hard to get an accurate measurement because of the different stud lengths, but I think this axle, 1/4 inch longer than the old one. I think it seats further in, and I don't think it's out of a Fox body. The differences are ever so slight, even beyond the splines, spline depth. Come all the way up here. They really do look like they're the same overall length, but we're talking like a millimeter's difference in getting these things to seat. I am super confused. This thing, the center pin will fit with one axle in on either side, either or, but it won't fit with both of them in. I don't get it. This one fits on this side with no slack whatsoever, and the other one fits on the other side, one at a time, but they won't both fit together. Okay, well, I got this to go with a couple of love taps from the hammer. Nothing major. I didn't want to do it, but just a couple of little love taps, and it did go in. This is the tightest rear end axle fitment I've ever seen in my life. Hopefully this is going to work. So the center section is all put back together internally. Axles are in, brake drums are on, everything seems to spin smoothly. Feels like the brake drum isn't wanting to seat fully all the way back. I don't know if that's because the axle is a couple of millimeters longer or what, but we're going to test fit the tires and make sure they're going to go on. Got the Cobra R's back on. As you can see, those lugs are barely long enough to hold nuts and hold these things in place, but they'll do. We are going to fire this up, even with it uncovered. We have not filled it back up. We're going to turn it a few hundred RPMs just to make sure everything is straight. All right, here's this side. Straighter than it was. Let's check the other side. It is also turning over straight. I don't know if I'm being paranoid or if we have an ever so slight wobble on this side. It's hard to tell. I don't know if that's just lighting and shade or if that's an actual problem. I guess the only way we'll know for sure is to fill it up, put it on the ground, and go drive it. Boy, to the parts store in the white trash, which is running for the first time in a while. Don't ask questions. It just wasn't running. Now it is. We're going to get parts in it. It's the next day because we went and got gear oil and decided we'd had enough for the day and didn't want to do this anymore. Stupid gasket seal containers. Of course, the top of it was all clogged up, so I had to cut it open to get gasket seal out of it, and I sliced my finger on this stupid thing. The worst part of this project is always just trying to get the rear differential filled. And yes, I do realize they make squeezy pouches now. The squeezy pouches come out to about 2.5 times the price of this big jug of rear end grease. All right, if I forgot to say it, the car is back on the ground. We're going for a test drive. We're going to do some high speed and some low speed, and I want to feel if this thing is going to bounce up and down like it's still got a bent axle, or if that was the root cause of this problem. You can hear those rear gears are still whining a little bit, but I'm not hearing that whoa, 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 whoa that we've had lately. We're going to do a slow roll start and just see if we've got any of the up and down bouncing that we had. I don't think so. I think it's better. The next set of gears I install, I'm just going to slap them together however I feel like it. No measuring, no nothing. You can hear those things still whine quite a bit, but we're not getting that constant whoop, 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 whoop that we had. We're about to hit the highway and test them out. We definitely have some gear whine, as you can hear. That's just the way I set up the gears. I screwed them up. I thought I did them right, and I did not. But there's no carnage inside the rear end. Everything looked good. But it is just one steady hum now. It's no longer going whoa, 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 bubbling, so it is better. And then when you let off the gas, they're almost silent. It is better. It's not perfect. I'm not saying that it's fixed. Not permanently. I'm not saying we'll never have to redo it. But it is better. Who would have figured that having a bent axle would make things worse and putting a new axle in would make things better? Weird, huh? Really low speed. We still have a little bit of that sound, that whoop, 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 whoop. But we're not feeling it all through the car like we were. So that's something. Gears are still loud. Really weird. These gears sound like they're way over tightened, like they're self-clearancing. They're howling like I tightened them way too much. But when I was in there, they felt pretty loose and sloppy to the point I almost thought I needed to re-shim them and re-tighten them and check clearances again. So I guess I really kind of suck at rear end gears. Really low speed. We still have a little bit of that sound, that whoop, 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 whoop. But we're not feeling it all through the car like we were. So that's something. Gears are still loud. Really weird. These gears sound like they're way over tightened, like they're self-clearancing. They're howling like I tightened them way too much. But when I was in there, they felt pretty loose and sloppy to the point I almost thought I needed to re-shim them and re-tighten them and check clearances again. So I guess I really kind of suck at rear end gears. So we fixed a problem, but not all the problems. It is ever so slightly better. The gears still sound terrible. Probably should have re-shimmed them, checked clearances, done all that when I had it apart. I just wasn't feeling it. That is frustrating, but you know what? We're going back to driving this thing constantly. It's better than it was. There's no carnage in there. Things looked clean, looked good. There's no metal. I don't know what the whining is. Like I said earlier, it sounds like it's overly tight. It feels overly loose. I don't even care right now. We're going to drive this thing till the rear end grenades. We have a new rear end. We have a rear end just sitting around, completely bone stock. But in the event this thing explodes, we're just going to throw it in there and deal with that. But until then, catch you next time. Thanks for watching.